the Natural Instincts Academy podcast. This is your host, Mike, and this is episode one. Who am I? To start off this episode, I just want to talk a little bit about myself and how I became the person I am today here, speaking into a microphone for the first time ever in my own podcast. So, I basically went through life like most kids, and when you're young, and followed the rules. But society and your parents always have these expectations and these rules and these avenues they want you to take, and they just push you forward. And if you don't go follow those rules, or if you move out of it, you get basically told you're wrong, or you get punished. And you basically the society's got a nice little plan for most of us to go down a certain path. And at some point in my life, about 7, 8 years ago, I basically noticed that I needed drastic changes in my life. I noticed how deeply unhappy I was, and I was basically covering it up, as we mostly do, by vices and by entertainment, distractions. We constantly distract our minds in order to hide away our fears and our unhappiness that we have deep inside. Because most of us are actually destined, or we are, our purpose in life is not what we are living. So when I basically noticed that the deep unhappiness in my life, I said I have to figure out what's going on. Why am I so unhappy? Basically, to a certain extent, you hit rock bottom. A lot of times, so in order to even figure out that you're unhappy, you have to hit rock bottom. And it's amazing how we can go so long. We can be stretched so far, so unhappy for so long without even noticing it. And but eventually, if you're destined, some people can go out their whole life like that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And some people have found a purpose in life even through the regular life, the regular course of action. And for the most part, they're relatively happy, and they never have to reverse course, or they never have to hit a patch on the road where it makes you really question everything in life. And that's okay. That's there's this world. There's people for everything. There's people for everybody. There's paths, a million different paths, and there's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong way. But for those of us that do notice deep unhappiness, or something's wrong in our life, there's more to this world than what they tell us. This is what this show and my training courses and my books will be about, to try to help and guide and inspire others to find their way, find who they are, and live their purpose. Um, so funny enough, a lot of times when these things happen to us are at the most inopportune times. Whenever we are when it looks like we're doing the best, it's really when we're doing the worst. When we're about to achieve the best things, and our biggest goals, our biggest milestones that society puts in front of us. It's funny how sometimes that's exactly when you start noticing how much of an illusion the world is. And so after much digging, and for this you have to really set your intention and say, okay, I have something's going on with me. I don't know what it is, and I need to dive into a whole rabbit hole, or a deep other realm that we've never did dive into. And you have to do a lot of shadow work and really look inside, be completely brutally honest with yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror and say exactly what you mean. We cover things up we might be a little happy about, or we're not happy with something. We just try to brush it off, and we don't really look ourselves in the mirror for a long time, many many times. And all that stuff gets piled up under a rug. And but at some point, after you sweep enough things under the rug that make you unhappy, it will blow up. It's gonna blow up, and it's not gonna be pretty. But from these low moments, or what we perceive to be low moments, the brightest and biggest things that are coming to our life are born. Because from those moments is when you start to figure out who you really are, how to live life, what you should be doing, how who should be part of your life on a day-to-day basis. And from those moments is where, if you use them, if you take them seriously, if you want to make the changes in your life and truly be happy, you can use those are the biggest tools you will have in order to grow. It's your host Mike, and this is episode 1. So some keys to obviously I'll get to all these topics as more episodes come. There's so much to deep into when it comes to life and healing and growing and all of this amazing work that has to happen to in order to become the person you're meant to be in this world. Um, but some keys are: be to yourself. You have to be by yourself in order to sit with your thoughts and work on your own self. No amount of therapy, no amount of pill. There's no pill. There's no therapy. There's no magic, band-aid in the world that's gonna fix these things when it comes to you becoming optimally happy, being your optimal self. You have to put in the work, and you have to do it by yourself at the end of the day. Yes, you can have friends, you can have people you can discuss things, to break things out, to get a different perspective. That's all wonderful, and it has to be part of the process too. But at the end of the day, you have to sit with yourself. You have to be with yourself a lot, and that's something that most people do not do. We're not taught to do that. We have to do that in order to get to know yourself. That's something, for some reason, I've always kind of done. Even when I was younger, I would drive in the car. Sometimes I wouldn't have music on. I would just be in my own thoughts for hours. I would just take walks. We're here and there when I was younger. And as I've learned how important that is, I've consciously made an effort to seek out time to do that. And it just helps your growth exponentially because you really get to know who you are. Otherwise, you will never get to the core of who you are if you're not spending any time by yourself. If you're always on the phone, if you always have music on, if you always have a podcast on, if you're always consuming something externally, you're never gonna go in and see what your thoughts, what your brain, what your feelings, what your heart, what your soul is about, and what it's telling you. Another thing is detect and embrace fear. So a lot of times when we're not living our true life, that we, how we want to live, how we were born in this world to be, we become fearful of things. And the incredible thing is those fears are actually the doors that you can unlock in order to become that person that you're meant to be, your optimal self. And if you never face those fears, you'll always be trapped behind those doors, and you'll always be that illusion. You'll always be that person that's just giving off these this solution to the world that you're this kind of person. These are your hobbies, these are your likes, these are your dislikes that have been put into your brain, and you fully believe you are. But once you want to get out of that, once you realize that that's where you've been trapped and you want to actually be genuinely happy, you have to go through those doors. So facing your fears, you write them down. You sit down by yourself, be brutally honest, face those fears. Put a pen to paper, start crossing them out. You got a fear of flying, guess what you got to do? You got a fear of being in social settings. Guess what you got to do? You got to throw yourself out there. It doesn't matter if you fail. Doesn't matter what. That was me my whole life. I mean, until I hit rock bottom, I said something's got to change. I said I don't care anymore. I don't care how I look in front of anybody. My happiness goes above anything. That's my priority now. I just threw myself out there, and it was nothing but magic and magnificent. I had the best times of my life. I thrived at it because I stopped worrying and I just went head forward with my full heart, my full intention, and did it. And once you do that, you will always be successful. Hitting rock bottoms always, that's one of the main ways people realize that the the world is not what it seems. Um, Not a bad thing. A lot of people think that's a horrible thing. To me, that's that was the genesis of being my optimal self and finding true happiness. It is it was the most amazing thing that could have happened to me. So don't think of these things that are considered negative in society as bad. Hitting rock bottom, getting a divorce, those things were the most amazing things that happened to me. And they are, if you use them right, if you use them as learning opportunities, as tools, they are the best thing that could happen to you. And people who have that point of view and that perspective and that attitude use them to jump out into the world and conquer what they need because they learn from those mistakes, they learn from those experiences. They are incredible. So divorce, hitting rock bottom, those negative things that we keep in mind, those that is what you need to use as fuel in order to grow, in order to get to the next level if you want to get there. If you just want to continue to stay, yeah, if you want to continue to stay in the world that you've always been in and you're content with it and you're surviving and that's what you want, that's where you want it, it's going to be a bad thing. It's going to be horrible, it's going to look bad to the rest of the world. You're gonna care about how that looks. Once you're over that and you're ready to just move forward and find your happiness, you're not gonna care what anybody thinks about it. You're gonna use it as learning opportunities, and that's in turn gonna make it attractive to other people. How seeing you grow from it and seeing your attitude towards it, that's gonna make it infectious, and you're gonna have the world wrapped around your finger, basically. Going outside your comfort zone, similar to embracing your fears, do the things you don't want to do. Whatever you like, oh, I don't, that scares me. That's, I'm scared to do that. I don't want to do that. I could fail. How would I look if I do that? That's what you got to do. You have to run headfirst into your fears and break those comfort zones. That's how you will grow. That's the only way to grow. That's the only way to truly find yourself. It's massively important. And a lot of that. One of the I'll end with this. One of the biggest things you could do in order to accomplish those goals of breaking your comfort zones and your fears is move move to another place. A lot of times we're stuck in the same city, same town we've lived in most of our life, and we're just scared to move. We have our friends, our family, we're comfortable there. Sometimes making a drastic move, well, not sometimes, 99% of the time, unless something drastic happens, like you get in a car accident or something like that on the way over there. But in general, anytime you go out of what you're comfortable in, you're going to you're forcing yourself to grow. You give yourself no choice, so you have to find new friends. You have to make new family. You have to find a new job. You have to build new skills in order to acquire that job. Or once you get that job, you have to find new skills to accomplish the job. You're gonna find new places to be in nature. You're gonna be more attracted to go out and explore the town and not be in the same monotony, the same routine that you were before in your old city. So a lot of times when you're ready, when you're truly ready for a drastic change, for your life to truly start heading in the direction you want to take it in, you have to make a drastic step, as in moving to a different place, different country, different city, different state, somewhere different. And that is incredible. It's going to teach you so much valuable information. You're going to have so many experiences you will value the rest of your life. Um, and cut. And that doesn't mean you can't ever go back and live where finish your life wherever you are currently living, and are comfortable in. You have your family, your friends. You can always go back, but at least temporarily, you have to make a change. You have to push yourself out there if you want to have a go follow a path of something new. You have to go somewhere new. Something it's going to force. It's going to make it that much easier. it's gonna speed up that process. You could probably do the same thing if you stay in the same routine with the same people, but it might take a lot longer because you're not forcing yourself out. You're not pushing yourself as hard. You're gonna still be used to a lot of the. That about wraps it up for episode one. This is my first time doing this. I'm sure it won't be the best one I will do, but I think I got a lot of good information on it. I learned a lot. I am very happy to be finally have my own show or place I can speak my mind and put my ideas out in the world and hopefully help and inspire others. So, with that said, have a great day.